Well, conformism is essentially about copying. Actually, humans copy for fundamentally two quite different reasons. We copy in order to learn things that are technically useful. Actually, lots of species do that. Our closest primate cousins are quite good at learning techniques, for instance, of extracting termites using tools, that kind of thing. And of course, in the avian world, there are lots of birds that are really good at copying. Crows and various species of crow and various species of parrots, etc. Well, humans do that too, of course. We use tools and we learn from observing other people and copying their effective behaviors to achieve instrumentally desirable outcomes. But we also engage in another kind of copying that's very rare in the natural world. We copy in order to belong to a group, to be like other people around us and be seen as bona fide group members. And that's what I call conformism. It's the copying in order to affiliate, to be part of groups. And we've been studying this kind of copying for many years, and it's very early emerging in childhood. We see a propensity to copy in order to belong in very early childhood. We've only been studying it in my particular research group from around 3 years upwards, but it emerges much earlier than that. And what we have seen with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds is that when there are opportunities to learn something, a behavior that has absolutely no rational causal structure, the imitation behaviors that they show are even more strikingly conformist in the sense that they are more faithfully following the observed behaviors, and they involve fewer innovations and inventions of your own. And that makes sense if you're copying in order to belong. Every aspect of the observed behavior is important to notice and to reproduce in order to be a good group member, because there's no way you can decide what is more causally useful or efficacious in the behavior, what is actually rationally necessary. So you might as well copy all of it. That's right. One of my doctoral students, Rachel Watson-Jones, pioneered a series of experiments in which we showed that when children are trying to decide how faithfully to imitate a modeled action sequence, that priming them with ostracism threats, that's to say concerns about being left out of the group, led to even more fastidious and careful copying of modeled behavior than when that kind of anxiety about being left out was absent. So this suggests that children copy as a way of affiliating, and they'll copy even more strenuously and enthusiastically when there's an anxiety about being excluded from the group, and they'll do it as a sort of re-inclusion behavior. Well, I think these are really good examples of how quickly we can change the rules about what the appropriate um, sort of behaviors are to observe in society. It's true that in those cases, you could say that there was quite a lot of top-down pressure. There were new laws passed that made smoking illegal in certain spaces, and that was no doubt a factor. But I think with much of the conformism that we see, the most powerful motivations come from the desire to belong to the group and therefore to observe the behaviors that others around us exhibit. So it's not typically a sort of top-down enforcement mechanism, although there are aspects to conformism that clearly result from policing and from mechanisms that have to do with hierarchy. But I think the root causes of a lot of the conformism we see have to do with the desire to follow the peer group, people who are like us, and to do what others are doing in sort of fairly egalitarian spirit.